Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday, y'all. Nicole Roberts Jones here, and welcome to Faith, Purpose, Profit Live, my weekly time to connect all things faith with purpose and profit so that you can go after being the highest and best version of who God created you to be as you start or grow your purpose focused business. So, you know how I do. As you come in, tell me hello. I'm trying to pull up my comments over here. They've changed Facebook on me. So, come on in, tell me hello as you're coming in. Tell me name and where you're joining from. Come on in, come on in. So, I love these conversations because, my goal really is to dig deeper into whether you're a client, whether you've been around me for a while. Hey, Sonia in Atlanta, to dig deeper because what happens, and I'm going to step on your toes just a little bit. We live in a surface kind of world. So there are things underneath your surface that you do not see about your purpose. And so that's perfect for my segue to tell you our conversation for today is there are levels to this. So you don't come in this world and just stay on the same level that God brought you in this world on. See, God always has new levels, new areas for you to grow in. And I really need you to understand this because I meet so many people in this work that think, well, I should know my purpose, or I know what my purpose is. And then they say something vague, like I empower people. Yeah, empowerment, you can get that for free at church on Sunday. I motivate people. That's free at church too. And I'm not saying that's not your purpose. That might be something you do in the process of your purpose, but that is not the definition of how you move someone to a predictable result. That is what your purpose does. And so there are levels to this thing called purpose. And I really want you to fundamentally understand it. Now, before I start to go in, I want to share a segment of a conversation I had with my pastor covering, Reverend Pastor Isaac Petrie, because I think it's perfect to kind of lay the foundation to what I'm going to talk to you about during our time together. All right. So let me share this segment and I'll come back for more.
All of us, this is one of my favorite statements. We live life on levels and we arrive in stages. And so we're always constantly moving, changing, pivoting. Everybody that God used in the Bible, they never ended up where they started out. They kept going through these seasons and changes.
Such a great conversation. So, by the way, if you have not signed up to join us for Power in Your Pivot Week, I want to encourage you to sign up. That is just a snippet from tonight's conversation, by the way, just a snippet. But I really want to dig into something that he started in our conversation. I want to dig into it further because I see so many people, I said this a minute ago, that start this purpose journey and you're already successful. Maybe you have the job you've wanted your entire career and God has called you to something new. Or you have this feeling of something's missing or you lack fulfillment or whatever that is in between that has you on this journey to really get clear what your purpose is. I need you to get that there are levels to this. Who you already are, she's done, he's complete. Your resume, your bio has nothing to do with your purpose matriculation. Well, I shouldn't say nothing to do, but that part of you is done. I really need you to understand this. And so people come thinking, I should know this. And I'm going to tell you, this is what I see get so many people hung up. And so I'm here as your sister friend. I'm going to step on your toes this episode because I need you to really, really, really understand this. This will keep you from not just making money, because, yeah, you're going to make money too. But this will keep you from being the answer that you were born to be in this world. That is why I host Power in Your Pivot Week, because you're going to hear each of our experts talk about the fact that they had to go after their next level. There are levels to this. So I'm going to give you 4 steps to purpose matriculation, but let me explain to you again, those of you that haven't ever heard me talk about purpose matriculation. So it's like going through the educational system. We matriculate through school. So some of us start in pre-K, some start in high school. High school. Some start pre-K, some start in kindergarten. Hello, Nicole. Start in high school. So you go from kindergarten through elementary, then you go to junior high, then high school, and then some of us go into college, and then graduate school, and so on, and so on, and so on. The difference between the education matriculation system and the purpose matriculation system is we know the end from the beginning when we're in school. But God isn't like that with our purpose. See, God wants us to have something called faith. And so your faith doesn't get activated until you're in the face of the unknown, until you're in the face of fear, until you're in the face of being asked to do something you've never done before, to become someone you have yet to become. That's what purpose matriculation is about. So for all of you who have been saying to yourself, oh, I should know how to do this, or I know my purpose, but yet you feel stuck or stagnant, or you can't really, or you feel like you're not moving anywhere, it's because guess what? You need another level, boo. Mhm. So I'm going to walk you through the 4 stages of purpose matriculation. And listen, it doesn't just happen once. Oh, I'm going to explain that to you too. Okay, you ready? Y'all know how I am. I'm going all the way in from the beginning on this one, right? Hey, y'all, see if any of you guys are joining. So here's our foundational Bible verse. I got all kind of notes today because I don't want to miss a thing. So our foundational Bible verse today is 2 Peter 3:18. Continue to grow in the grace and knowledge of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Now, the thing that many people, many preachers, when they use this Bible verse, they talk about growing spiritually. And yes, you need to grow spiritually, but you also need to grow in your giftedness. God put you here on purpose with purpose. And again, there are levels to it. So when you learn your purpose at this level, God will take you to the next level. So if I use my own journey for an example, and then I'm going to walk you through the 4 stages of purpose matriculation. You know, I started in this journey in 1993 when I had the career I've dreamed of since I was 7, and I loved it. Many of you have heard my story, but I think it bears repeating here so you understand why I'm passionate about it. And also so you understand, I'm not someone that just walks the walk or talks the talk, rather. I'm someone that lives it, breathes it, and then I teach it because I've been through it. So I started this journey in 1993 working in the entertainment industry. And let me tell you, if I had the job I dreamed of since I was 7 years old, doing it. So back then, I worked for Viacom's largest cable network. We had an outreach to over 89 million homes on a weekly basis. And then from there, I was elevated into a casting position on the #1 TV show on Fox. And then from there, I worked with the entertainment group. And what we produced generated over $12.6 billion a year. So listen, I was playing really, really big. I had my name on all the lists. I was going to all the high Hollywood parties. But my dream started to feel like a nightmare because I felt like something was missing, y'all. And I couldn't figure out what that was because this is everything I dreamed of. How could I feel like something was missing? See, what I didn't realize is that my purpose was calling. So to make a really long story short, in the middle of me feeling dazed and confused because how could I feel like this? And then when I tried to talk to my girlfriends about it, they were like, are you crazy? Didn't you go to this red carpet, girl? And you work on this TV show and you know this star? And yeah, I started to feel like I was crazy. And so in the middle of me feeling crazy and confused, a good girlfriend of mine, girlfriend to this day, invited me to go with her to volunteer at a program at our church one Friday night. And I'm gonna tell you that night, as I started working with young people, as their eyes lit up, my heart lit up. And I realized, oh my God, this is what I'm meant to do. I didn't know what it was called, but for the first time in my life, my soul felt alive like I had never felt before, even in the job that I absolutely loved in Hollywood. So just like God did with Abraham, and I didn't bring my Bible in here, so let me see if I can pull this up real quick. This has jumped in my spirit. I love how I'll be in the middle of this, and I do prepare for these, and then God will just drop something in my spirit while I'm talking to y'all. So Genesis 12, let's see how fast I can pull it up. Genesis 12:1, when God says to Abraham, here's what he says. This is God talking to Abraham. Now, mind you, God changed Abraham's name from Abram to Abraham because there's levels to this, y'all. Okay. God said, get out of the country, get out of your country, from your family and from your father's house to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. But God said, you got to leave your country. You got to leave what you know. I say this all the time. Your comfort and your conviction can never coexist. If God is going to call you to the next level, it's going to be beyond anything you could ask or think. I would never ask God to leave entertainment. I would have never thought that I could find a job that I loved more than my Hollywood dream. So, yes, I left entertainment. I started working with teenage girls in that moment. That was my first purpose matriculation. That program became a nonprofit. I had 10 chapters in 10 states, working with teenage girls all over the country. My next purpose matriculation, my girls started to be graduate from college and started going into their careers and felt like something was missing. Same thing I felt. And I started coaching them and they started referring their friends. And I realized, oh, I love this more. And God began to show me this was really what he was trying to get me to, my steps. So my kindergarten went to my elementary, which was working with women. As I started getting clear in that area, and the last year, God has matriculated my purpose again to work with men. Now, there's also so many areas of matriculation that I've gone through, but I want you guys to get this. There are levels to this. So whereas you might have started in your career and thought that was going to be it, ask Michelle Obama, who thought she was going to be a lawyer for the rest of her life. And she talks about this in her book, Becoming, that she realized she hated it because there was another level that God was calling her to. Now, that she used that law degree very well as our phenomenal first lady. It came in handy. So God is always going to call you to next. Just like you needed elementary to go to junior high, you needed the basic math of junior high to get to your algebra and geometry in high school. See, every level grows you and prepares you for your next. I need y'all to get this. Okay. So purpose, and I'm going to use this, I say this all the time, seed time and harvest. But I'm going to say it in a different way so that maybe some of you will get this in a different way. Okay. And if I'm saying anything that's resonating with you, give me, hearts, give me comments. If you have questions, please feel free to share. Look, I went all the way in because I have so much to give you. I'm committed to be here. Just a quick dose of insight. Okay. So the first step in purpose matriculation, and they all are P's, is preparation. Because you don't just get there and you're already ready. So you either have to get clear on where you are and what you're up to, or you got to cultivate it. So what I mean by being clear, again, when you're trying to move into something, this newness. So if I use myself for an example, when God started calling me to work with teenage girls, I had never in my life facilitated training. I wasn't a speaker until then. And if you would ask me if I was a speaker then, I would have told you no and ran because, believe it or not, I'm shy. But if you ever see me out in public, I'm usually sitting by myself. Because I'm shy, but I've had to fight through that to do this thing I'm called to do. And I'm kind of getting used to my shyness by now, pushing through it. But in the beginning, baby, I was a hot mess, right? I'm telling the truth today. So listen, I went to the library every single weekend because there was no internet when I started. So I had to go old school and go to the library and study. Despite the fact that I was working with some production teams and I had been casting a number one TV show, that I had done all this work, I still had to learn new things to cultivate my gift in a different way. And even as I was growing my gift, I still wasn't clear and I couldn't articulate what I was doing, which held me up for years. Many of you guys have heard my story that for 17 years, I made no money in my business. The reason I wasn't making any money is I wasn't clear. So although I was in my purpose, I wasn't clear. I was growing my gift, but I didn't take time to get clear. So clarity looks like this. I said this a few minutes ago. If you're saying anything like, I want to be a speaker is not your purpose. That's a vehicle you'll use to move your purpose forward. So like me being a speaker is something that I do, but it's not my purpose. It's something I need to do so people can see me and receive me and experience me. But it's a catalyst to my purpose. That's not my purpose. My purpose is helping you create multiple streams of income from your purpose, period. To get in alignment with your assignment. That's my purpose. And me being a speaker is a part of the vehicle I use to activate that purpose. Y'all see the difference in that? So you got to get clear on what your purpose is. Listen, you're not everybody's answer, you're somebody's answer, but can you articulate that? And those of you that think you're leaving people behind, you're not. I said this on an interview earlier. There's a difference between harvesting an orange and an apple. Let me say it this way, orange and a grape. You can't use the same water on an orange that you use on a grape. So if you're trying to put an orange and a grape in the same fields, it's not going to work. Well, that's what happens when you're trying to be everybody's answer instead of being clear on who you are the answer to. So you've got to prepare your purpose. See, God plants the seed. You have to prepare the seed. You've got to do the work to sow it. God's not going to do the work. He gives you free will, right? Listen, Jesus said this in Luke 6:38, that if you give, you will receive. Your gift will return to you in full, pressed down, shaken together to make room for more, running over and poured into your lap. The amount you will give will determine the amount you get back. So I believe he meant the amount you give, like a good steward in your gift. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's going to get activated. You've got to do the work to grow it. One of my favorite people to use as an example is Beyonce. Now, Beyonce was gifted when she was with Destiny's Child. Beyonce was gifted at 9 years old when she started in this business. And all the things she went through, from two members leaving Destiny's Child to then bringing two more in to then one of them leaving, she didn't quit. But the more she grew a gift, the more opportunities. There were levels. The next level was going solo, which was scary. That's what Sasha Fierce got created. Y'all with me? She had to conjure up an alter ego so she could do the thing that was taking her to her next level. The thing I love about watching Beyonce's career is she doesn't settle for where she is. She did the Lemonade album that dropped in the middle of the night. Y'all remember that? Then she did Coachella. Then she made Black is King. I mean, I'm always excited to see what she's going to do next because she's always growing herself to a new level. There are levels to this. And one day I'll get to meet Beyonce and I get to ask her, girl, what made you do this? And I guarantee you it's something that dropped in her spirit because I know how God works and you do too. So the first step is preparation. The second is you got to prune. Oh, this was a good one. So John 15:2 says, every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. So listen, he prunes. Prunes means to cut off or cut back parts for better growth. So there are things that God sees that no longer serve you, that he's got to cut back. So my question to you is, what do you need to prune? Do you need to prune imposter syndrome? You know, thinking that, oh, well, people are going to find out I don't know what I'm doing. I'm being an imposter. You're not being an imposter. Listen, you might only be 60% of where you desire to go, but the person that needs you is at 5%. So if you're holding up, blessing them, waiting to be at 100, you're holding up somebody's answer prayer because you want to be perfect when perfect ain't even possible. So God's going to take you through some pruning. Like I had to let go of entertainment so that I could do this full time. I remember the day I left entertainment. It was so hard too, by the way, right? Still missed the parties. And I feel a full circle coming now. I really do. I'm not trying to be funny. I feel a full circle coming. But I realized I had to leave what I knew so God could grow me into some other areas. See, we get comfortable. Stephen Furtick said, the enemy of faith is not fear, it's familiarity. Because we get familiar with something and we want to stay there because we're comfortable. I'm going to say this again. I said it a few minutes ago. Your comfort and your conviction can never coexist. So when God is letting things go, like sometimes you got to let people go. Hardest thing I've ever had to do is let people go. Sometimes it's because it's time for them to grow. And I can see that them staying here will keep them from going after them. I got to prune for their own purpose. Sometimes you got to prune people because, listen, they're no longer big enough for your gift. Sometimes your career has to go. That's what happened in entertainment. It was no longer big enough for my gift. Some other things you might need to prune is self-doubt. How dare you doubt yourself when God did not make a mistake when he made you, when he gifted you? When you doubt yourself, you're saying, God, you made junk. God, you didn't know what you were doing when you made me. Instead of you getting confident in who you are and spending time getting clear and cultivating your gift, the more time you get clear, the more you cultivate it, the more you will stand fully in the power of it. I said this a minute ago. You know, what's that saying? You're the sum total of 5 people that are around you. So who do you need to let go so you can cultivate yourself? You got to look at who's making deposits and who's making withdrawals. Because if people are just withdrawing, but they never make a deposit, your account's going to be empty. Your relationship account, your heart account, your support account. You got to have people in your life that are reciprocal, that are pouring in as much as you're pouring in. So you've got to take time to look at where do you need to prune? Do you need to let go of who you have always been to become who you have yet to be? Some of y'all need to let go of your titles. Some of y'all need to let go of your resume. Some of you need to let go of the fact that you got your name on lists. Because when you die and get to meet God face to face, you can't say, oh, well, you know, I have my name on the list, Lord. I have my name on every list, Lord. God don't care about that. So what do you need to prune so that you can grow? Second area of purpose, matriculation, right? I believe that in that Bible verse I read to you, when God told Abram, you need to leave your country, he had to let go of what he already knew so that God could grow him into something that he didn't know yet. The third piece is patience. Listen, they tell us a common misconception in this whole sowing and reaping is seed time harvest. People think the time you just wait and you wait and you wait. But here's the thing. If you plant, a seed is planted, You've got to water while you wait. So how can you continue to cultivate your seed while you're waiting? So if God gave you a vision and it's not happening, that means that there's something else that needs to be developed in you. Those of you that have been with me the last few weeks, we talked about David on this podcast. The thing I absolutely love about David, and I heard this quote somewhere because I'm always listening to a podcast or a sermon, so I don't remember who said it. But David got anointed to be king and then went right back in the field to shepherd the sheep. Can you have a king's anointing and yet go back to your shepherd's responsibility? See, David had to continue to water the seeds that were given. The seeds at that time were sheep, not shepherds, were sheep. He was a shepherd. And God used that because God used that. So when David was guarding the sheep, fighting lions off the sheep, and fighting bears from the sheep, and fighting wolves from the sheep, at some point, Goliath came. He was ready for that because he's like, oh, I've been fighting lions and tigers and bears. Please, I can fight this old giant. And he fought him and he won. But even beyond that, he was also teaching David to care more about the people in his community than his own self. A great ruler is not about you. Oh, we could talk about some rulers that we had recently that ain't been so great. That's been all about them. But because David cultivated his gift, he was a phenomenal ruler. Now, he had some little issues personally, but he was a phenomenal king. Need y'all to get this. So you got to water it. Jerry Savelle, which is a pastor that I watch, used to watch a lot, he says, your harvest is determined by what you do while you're waiting for it. Your harvest is determined by what you do while you're waiting for it. Maybe you need to prune, maybe you need to water. See, there's seeds that come that will choke out there are weeds that come that will choke out the seeds of your purpose if you don't take the time to prune them out. Galatians 6:9 says, so let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap our harvest of blessings if we don't give up. I think so many people don't water. They don't patiently water. I call this going through see nothing days because there'll be times when you water your seed and water your seed and water your seed, and you may not see anything come out of the ground. You may not. But that does not mean you stop watering your seed. So let me review real quick before I say number 4, because number 4 is the one everybody wants. Number 1 is preparation. You got to sow. How do you sow into your purpose? How do you get clear on it and how do you cultivate it? Because listen, if you're not clear on it, you'll be watering a grape, not realizing that it's really an orange. I'm just saying, right? Trying to make it plain, y'all, because I know you don't water orange the same way you water a grape. You can't, right? And you mess up my wine if you water my oranges wrong now. I mean, my grapes wrong. You water my grapes wrong, you'd be messing up my wine now, right? Number 2 is you've got to prune. You've got to get the weeds out. What could keep you from really growing into your next level, right? So first you've got to sow and really look at what sow so you can go. Sow so you can go to your next level. That just popped in my head. Thank you, Lord. What do you need to do to sow to go to what's next for you? Then pruning, what could get in your way? What's holding you back? What's stopping you? Third, you've got to water. You've got to water it. So even if I look at my own journey of my business, like standing still for 17 years, I kept watering and kept watering. Guess what? I was watering with the wrong water. I was watering oranges and I really had grapes. I had to hire a coach that could say, Nicole, hold on, stop. You're not watering your gift the right way. And some of you need that. Some of you need that. Because listen, you can't see the label from inside the jar. I say this all the time. You are in the jar called you every day. So the things you do that are intrinsic to your DNA that you don't even realize that you do, and that you don't even realize that you have, that you don't even realize is a blessing to other people because you do it on autopilot. Like Meaty, that's here with us. I'm going to use Meaty for an example. Phenomenal nurse on the DC nursing board. I know I can use her as an example. Hospitals calling her. One hospital, I'm not going to tell it all, Meaty, I promise. One hospital called her, picked her brain. That hospital got $1 million contract. How much of that contract did Meaty get? 0. You know why? Because she was not realizing the gift that she had. Oh, this is easy for you. You spent years in your industry. You have expertise and you're overlooking it because you do it on autopilot. I'm using her for an example, but we all do it. That was me too, for years. So you've got to be one, sow your seed, get clear and cultivate it. No, you're not everybody's answer. Get clear on what you're cultivating for and who and how. Second, you've got to prune what's no longer working. You got to prune what's no longer working. I'm laughing at Meaty's comment. Three, you've got to have patience and continue to water it. Doesn't mean you're watering. Well, first of all, if you're not clear that you're watering the right thing, get some help, hire a coach. But once you get the clarity and you have the methodology, you got to keep watering it. You might throw some fertilizer on it sometimes, but you've got to take the time to water it. So waiting doesn't mean do nothing. It means continue, stay steadfast, unmovable, do the work you know you're meant to do, and don't quit. It takes time for it to grow. Because last but not least, that's how you get to your profit, your harvest. This is where you reap. You reap what you sow. And so many people want profit, but they don't want to do the work. So many people want profit, but they don't want to put in all it takes to go after a real profit. Because listen, when I say profit, it's not just about money. It's also you're profiting the people that need you. So when you do the thing you do, like hospitals that profit because of Meaty's expertise, new hospitals that are growing and starting these phenomenal units that are construction people that have no idea how to set up healthcare the right way. They bless their patients because they get Meaty's expertise. I need y'all to get this. Whatever that might mean for each of you, I want you to realize how people profit because of your brilliance. And then God's gift back to you is a little profit up for you. So I'm going to leave you with this. You know, I have talked about David for the last few weeks. I talked about Abraham. I want to use one other story. And the reason I give you stories is, listen, Jesus was a storyteller. I believe stories help give you context so you understand why someone's teaching you what they're teaching you, so then you can apply it for your own life. Okay. So Moses is who I want to use. So I'm showing you purpose, matriculation, the 4 steps. So Moses. So step 1, preparation. So his mother heard that they were going to kill all the Israelite babies. So she sent her baby down the Nile to save her baby. She didn't know that Pharaoh's daughter was going to capture her baby. So little did she know she was preparing her son. See, because what she did not know, see, God's intentional. God knew what he was doing when he probably put that thought in Moses' mama's head. But what happened is God was preparing Moses because he got groomed in the palace. So he knew how to talk to Pharaoh. He knew the innuendo and all the things that happened in the palace. Israelites didn't know that. He got groomed. So his intellect was in alignment with the people in the palace, not the Israelites that were slaves back then. I want y'all to get this. So then what happened is the pruning happened when Moses was walking around one day and saw an Egyptian beating an Israelite that was a slave. And he was like, he wasn't feeling that. Now, he didn't know he was an Israelite. He just didn't like the disparity. And he killed the man. So because he killed this man, he had to flee. So what he didn't know is God was using that for him to go back to his people. Come on, God. This story's good, y'all. Go read the whole story, right? In Exodus. Then patience. So after all of that, Moses, while he's in, I didn't write the name, Midian, right? That's where he ran to. One night, God appeared to Moses in the bush and said, I want you to go back. You're going to save your people. So obviously, he ended up finding out he was an Israelite. Y'all with me? This is the Cliff Note version of the Moses story, right? So here's the thing I want you to get. He had to have patience because even though God said, you're going to deliver your people, do you know it took him 5 different times going to Pharaoh before Pharaoh would let his people go? Pharaoh said, no. I know Moses was like, Lord, you said that Pharaoh was going to let my people go. Didn't happen the first time. Second time, I know Moses was like, wait, hold on, Lord, wait a minute. He said no again, Lord. What you doing? Third time, Pharaoh said no. I know Moses was like, look, Lord, get your life together. This ain't working. This is what I'd be saying to God. 4th time, still didn't happen. It wasn't until the 5th time, but here's the thing, y'all. Even when Pharaoh said finally, and all the kind of things happened. This time, I think he got lepers or he got disease all over his body, which finally worked, right, for him to. And God knew that Pharaoh was going to say no all those times. But listen, Moses was patiently watering, knowing they had to keep going and knowing that he couldn't give up. But even listen, after the 5th time, and Pharaoh released them, they went out into the wilderness, and Pharaoh sent the army to go kill them as they were leaving. And when they got out there, here's what Moses says to his people. Again, this is him watering the seed God put in him. Moses said, this is Exodus 14, 13, and 14. Moses said to the people, do not be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall see again no more forever. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. After he said that, then God said, put your wrath in the sea, and I'm going to part it. See, Moses had to have blind faith. He had to trust God. It was only they parted the sea, they ran across the sea. As the army started trying to come in the sea enclosed around them, and they all died. And Moses and the Israelites reaped what they sowed. They got into the wilderness. And then guess what happens? The purpose matriculation process started all over, because now they got to get to their promised land. So you've got to prepare, which is cultivating and growing and doing the work. It takes prune what's not working. You got to have patience to keep watering it before you get to profit the harvest. And what happens at each level, it happens again. Even Oprah with her TV show, successful TV show, when she got past that TV show and wanted to do her own network, she had to go through purpose matriculation again. So I need you to understand there are levels to this. You don't get to one place and you're done. So my question to you is, where are you in your journey? What support do you need to go after your next level? I need you to get clear and uncompromising and go after it. This is part of the reason why I started Power Your Pivot Week. So listen, tonight, 8 p.m. is the first interview. If you haven't registered, it's Power Your Pivot, not week, poweryourpivot.com. Correct that. It's poweryourpivot.com is where you go register. Because you're going to hear from 8 different people. 8 different people, all of who were already powerful in their own right, that all had to make their own pivot. People like Dr. Cindy Trim. You just heard from my pastor covering Reverend Isaac Petrie. Hear from Dr. Alex Ellis. You'll hear from Dr. Missy Johnson. There's so many of these doctors I had this year. What's that about, right? Dr. Tamiko. I can go on and on. Reverend Dr. Mark Whitlock Jr. Now, let me tell you, Mark has known me for 30 years. I can say Mark because I knew him before he was a Reverend Doctor. I'm going to tell you, these people that came and said yes, came to pour everything they have into you. So don't miss it. Don't miss as they pour all they had to do to go after their levels, their pivot. Okay? So that's our conversation for this week. And here's the thing I want to challenge you. You can't wait. You can't wait till the right time. There'll never be a right time for you to go after your next level. There'll never be the right time to make a pivot. But if you know in your heart it's your time, make sure you join Power Your Pivot Week. It's free. But I want to support you to grow into all that's possible for you. And then I also want to encourage you. So I tell you this every week. I am live every Tuesday morning for a recap from today's conversation, but I dig deeper. So join me tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. And guess what? Every morning this week, I'm going to be live with you to recap Power Your Pivot Week. Because what I know for sure is now is your time. You didn't stumble on this video, whether you're here with me live or watching a replay. You didn't stumble here by accident. I don't take your being here lightly. So I want to say Kendra and Sonia and Renata and Yolanda. I saw here earlier. And who else is here? I think it's say hi earlier. And Chris and trying to go through all the comments. Nikki. And there are way more of you that are here live that haven't said hello. I want you to know that God is waiting for you. He's waiting for you to water the seed. Hi, Tia. Hope I'm saying your name right. He's waiting for you to water the seed that he put in you. And my question to you is, where are you in your matriculation process? And what will you do to not sit in complacent or good enough or settle for who you've already been? What will you do to go after who you have not yet become? That's our conversation for this week. I look forward to seeing many of you join us for Power Your Pivot Week. I look forward to pouring more into you tomorrow morning on Clubhouse. Until I get to hear you, see you, touch you, talk to you. That's the end of this episode. I'll see you next week for another FPP Live Monday nights at 7 p.m. EST. Thank you for joining us.